for the basement view. There we go. How's it going? Didn't have any sound there. What's going on, y'all? Um, it is Monday, the 20th of July. The 20th. Wow. Summer is leaving fast. Boy, I got to tell you, that is so disappointing how fast summer is going. Jeez, I got to stop paying attention. I guess so if I quit paying attention, it'll be gone. Good evening. How's everybody doing? We still at war, getting soldiers killed. So that's that. Um, Lots of crazy stuff. Oh, and again, one of those things I really don't pay no attention to. Hey, what's up, James? How's it going? One of those things that I don't pay any attention to is, soccer. I'm not a soccer fan. They call it football overseas. We call it soccer here. The World Championship happened, and I'm gonna get right into this stuff today because I think I'm gonna make this a short evening. Um, the award ceremony. The award ceremony. You know who had to show up at the award ceremony? This guy is your typical unwanted guest. He literally wouldn't get off the stage in order for them to take the championship photo. He intended to be in the picture with the team. The FIFA chairman literally ran up there to try and get this fool off the stage. Check it out. Is that crazy? Is that crazy or what? Is that crazy? I mean, there's no way this clown could just get off the stage. He couldn't just leave. He had to stay on. Hey, Carmen, what's happening? He had to stay on the stage to be in the championship picture with those players. Just how sick is that? Everything got to be about that dude. I'm doing good, Carmen. How are you? I'm doing better than I'm probably doing better than those people that was trying to get their championship picture taken, with the team as opposed to having some slob standing there photo bomb in the picture. How's it going with you, Carmen? You all right today? Um, you saw a picture where it intentionally kept him out of it. Well, good. That's good because he wasn't supposed to be in it. It was a team picture. He wasn't supposed to be in the picture. You hand the people an award and you leave. You don't stick around and get a picture stay in the picture. I guess him and Cash Patel got that bad. They got to try and be in the picture with the team. I saw somebody else do that once, and I can't remember who it was. Can't remember who it was. Oh, it was doggone it, Anthony. What's his name? Anthony something. Anthony Johnson, Anthony Jackson. He did that. It's so hot here. We're getting rain from tropical depression. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. A tropical depression. That's the lead up to a big storm. A tropical depression. That's not good. That's the lead up to a big storm. I've been involved in tropical depressions before, back in my Navy days. Man, well, I understand we're about to get hit sometime, a little time from now too. We about to get some big storms too coming through the Midwest, so we'll be right there with you. Um, Supposed to be coming through. Um, I don't know in the next couple of hours, I guess, and last through the night into tomorrow. And I gotta tell you, if somebody tell you climate change is fake, you should just look at them like they're stupid because there's no way this climate is not changing. You know, we getting so many different storms and different kinds of storms and tornadoes through here that every other night kind of stuff. We had 1 week without anything, and now they're back. We're supposed to get hit pretty hard tonight. Um, can't do nothing but wait for it. Can't do anything but wait for it, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes. So moving right along, uh, that unwanted guest did a speech the other day. Yeah, it is crazy. Absolutely, it's crazy. But that unwanted guest the other day did a speech, and I want to play some reporting on that speech. Um, this is out of Colorado. This is a report out of Colorado. How am I doing here? How am I doing? I'm doing as best as I can. I'm not going to complain about nothing because we had some good weather. Yesterday, I worked out in my backyard quite a bit in the garage, cleaning out the garage. Had perfect weather for cleaning out the garage yesterday. So I cleaned up the garage and did some stuff in the backyard. Got a lot of other stuff. I got 3 automotive projects to work on. And I need to be able to get on them, and I just had to I got to rearrange a whole lot of stuff in order to get started on these automotive projects that I'm literally behind on. I haven't worked on the Mustang in a whole summer. My van needs some body work, and I got an old junk vehicle that I need to get parts off of and have the junk people come get it. So I got 3 automotive projects to work on. And I'll get around to it, but I had to move some stuff around and reorganize some stuff and get everything where it's supposed to be. And then I got I got a garden back there. I've been gardening and I got vegetables growing and tending to that, and raccoons still in my vegetables. So I've been dealing with them. You know what I mean? But I went out there this morning and 5 or 6 tomatoes on the ground. Half eaten. That's a whole nother story. But let me get back to what I was about to get into though. Because I'm about to get pissed because my blueberries, ate all my blueberries off. My strawberries, ate my strawberries off. I got watermelons growing. I had 2 watermelons coming in. One of them's missing. Looked around, nowhere on the ground. It was small, but, I have a cat that needs fixing. Hey, I tell you what, I got the remedy for that cat, brother. I got the remedy for that cat. Trust me. Won't even have to worry about it again. Now I've been lenient on the cats. There's 2 cats that come around, and I've not dealt with them on a permanent basis, but I do have a remedy. So, but what got me was, hey, if you're going to eat the tomatoes, eat the whole tomato. Don't take a tomato off the vine, eat through it, drop it, and grab another one. Wow, 5 or 6 tomatoes on the ground. Ridiculous. Anyway. So moving right along, cause I'm finna get misdirected about dealing with my own problems here. Let's get back to this unwanted guest that was standing up there in front of the crowd that didn't want to leave. Report coming out of Colorado about the speech he put on last week. I don't know if any of you saw the speech. I did not see the speech. I saw one little bit of it because most networks speech was ridiculous. Yes, it was, and yes, he is a liar. Most of the networks didn't cover it though, which is cool, and that really pissed him off. But here, check this report out.
President Trump used a primetime address tonight to rehash his debunked election claims, complaining again that he won the 2020 election and threatening the broadcast licenses of NBC and ABC for not airing the speech live. Trump said his administration is unclassifying never-before-seen documents on election security. Analysts and experts poring over those released documents tonight are not finding anything revelatory, nor did Trump say that there is evidence of a single vote being changed. The documents do include references to Colorado's voter registration rolls being, quote unquote, compromised by China. That's a misleading claim, given that Colorado's voter registration rolls are publicly available for anyone to download. In fact, the declassified documents out tonight make clear that what somebody in China did was not a hack. They just downloaded Colorado's publicly available voter rolls. President Trump has been punishing Colorado for using mail-in ballots, which Trump again said tonight are, quote, inherently corrupt. Trump himself votes by mail in Florida. And while Trump did not offer evidence of his election fraud claims, he did issue a direct threat to the news networks that did not air his grievances, saying the networks are part of an election fraud plot.
In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses.
Trump has expressed frustration that under the Constitution, the states, not the federal government, run elections, and he sought to seize more power for the feds over elections. Democrats in Colorado passed a law this year giving the governor the power to declare an election emergency should the Trump administration interfere with elections in this state.
Now, it is my opinion, he's doing this to jumpstart some lying for the 2026 election cycle. He's doing this because we got an election coming up in 6 months or 5 months. 5 months? Let's see. 4 months, actually. 4 months. We've got an election coming up in 4 months, and I think that dude is just planting the seed to start some bullshit. Absolutely. Absolutely, Carmen. That's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to get it into people's heads that the election going to be rigged. And that's just, you just filled out your form and going to mail it tomorrow. Well, y'all still got mail in Florida, and a lot of other states do too. But that's what he's trying to say, that that's rigged when he mails his in all the time. It's okay for him to mail his in. Now, here's the killer. Well, wait a minute. Let's see what the Lego News got to say about it.
Sacred defense. Still stuck in 2020. While the midterms get closer. Ahead of the loss, he's setting the stage. Crying election fraud before the votes get made. Losing to Iraq, so he runs to the past. Prime time address just to cover his ass. Ahead of the loss, the excuse came first. Blame the count before the numbers get worse. He can feel that clock, hear the people talk. Writing his alibi before they even walk. Said it was major, said it was new, then pulled out the same old 2020 review. Redacted pages and recycled claims. A national address for his personal gains. Iran stood firm, couldn't make them kneel. Couldn't force surrender, couldn't close the deal. War going sideways, pressure closing in. So he runs back 4 years and pretends he can win. President on fire, but he points behind. Can't control the war, so he controls the headline. Ahead of the loss, he's setting the stage. Crying election fraud before the votes get made. Losing to Iran, so he runs to the past. Prime time address just to cover his ass. Network said no to the rerun show, so he threatened their licenses live on the flow. Presidential seal, personal rage, using the podium like a campaign stage. Midterms coming and he knows what's next. Planting the fraud claim before ballots get checked. Losing the war, losing the plot. Still crying about votes while the president burns hot. He's not preparing the country. He's preparing the excuse. Before the ballots fall, before the people choose. Ahead of the loss, he's setting the stage. Fraud in his mouth before a vote hits the page. Iran would not fold, so he ran to the past. Prime time panic just to cover his ass. Ahead of the loss, everybody can see he fears the count more than the enemy. Before the results, before democracy talks, he already blamed them. Ahead of the loss, sacred defense. He lost the past. He's losing the present. Now he's blaming the future. Ahead of the loss. Sacred defense.
That's exactly what he's doing. That is exactly what he's doing. Trying to set it up so it can claim all manner of bullshit. Okay? He's trying to claim all manner of bullshit. And, you know, I got a feeling, though. I got a feeling that, yeah, we got to find out what Lego News got to say about that. They usually be on point. We know this. We know this for a fact. And they exposed the truth. I trust them way more than I trust the talking heads on our networks. Trust me on this one. But that is definitely going to be the setup to get some shit started. You know, some shit started. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Let us recall from Taylor Farms. I realize we were not talking about that, but just a warning. You know what? And hey, trust me, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I just heard just before coming on that they're saying it wasn't the lettuce from Taylor Farms. It was something else. You know, I think I heard them say that they had a Taco Bell that took all the lettuce off of their products. Yeah, I heard that they're backing down on the Taylor Farms thing. I think that Taylor Farms might have a lawsuit in because I think it's turning out that it was not their stuff. That's the latest report I just heard here a little while ago. But you know how that's a moving target. That's a moving target when in 27 states, I'm understanding this stuff is going across 27 states. I don't know, what to tell you. I've grown my own lettuce this year, so all the lettuce I ate was out of my garden this year. So I think I got, I think I picked a good time. I think I picked a good time to grow my own shit. Try that green thumb out, and it's kind of green. It's been working. I have, for those that give a damn, I've been growing lettuce, spinach, broccoli, cabbage, and other stuff like tomatoes and strawberries and blueberries and watermelons. So peppers, all manner of stuff. So I've been lucky enough to not have to go to the store for much as far as vegetables is concerned. And it was a false positive at Taylor Farms. Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard just before coming on that hold up, wait a minute on the Taylor Farms thing. So yeah, false positive, huh? Okay. And yes, I have been, watermelon. You heard right. I had two that was starting to develop. Now I got one. The plant is doing really good, but all of a sudden there's one missing. So there you would have it. Now there is an interesting there's an interesting side story to all this election fraud. Okay, that you all got to hear this. You all got to just think about this for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the fraud thing for a second because I want this one little tidbit that nobody's saying to shine through. When you hear him talking about election fraud and everything that happened in 2020, just bear one thing in mind. I'm gonna play this clip in a second, so nobody knows where the parasite came from. I haven't heard. The last thing I heard was the Taylor Farms thing, and then they reversed that today. Taco Bell said we're not putting any lettuce on anything. Yeah, so typically what I would think in a case like this, and I don't know if they've done this or not, but I haven't heard anything about it. Typically, don't you talk to the people that got sick and find out where they got what they ate? I think that's the way it goes, right? You find out who got sick and find out where they ate. That's how it normally took place in a health department that was fully functional. I don't think our Department of Health or Health and Human Services is fully functional right now. The FDA has not been fully functional for a while. So, and the Center for Disease Control, not fully functional. All of our agencies have been gutted. So the usual things that they would use, the usual methods of finding the source of something, is they probably don't have the means to do it. That's normally they would have been able to pinpoint this in no time. But our agencies have been gutted. You remember all of the federal workers that were fired? Remember that? All of these federal workers gone. So now you get one outbreak of something that should be able to be pinpointed. That's the way it is, That's just the way it is. My thoughts. Former Metro police officer accused of sexual activity on duty in middle school. Sexual activity on duty in a middle school. Well, was the sexual activity a teacher in middle school? If it was not a teacher or a janitor or a lunchroom matron, then that guy should be took out back to the woodshed. That's my opinion. If the sexual activity wasn't with a teacher, a janitor, a kitchen or lunchroom matron, the principal, nothing like that, he need to be took out back and put down, as far as I'm concerned. That's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. Anyway, that's just that's some that's some new shit right there. I don't know where they get that kind of stuff. Her police, okay. Those lunch matrons are hot. Well, I haven't seen one in a long time, Carmen. I tell you what, the matrons I used to see was anything but hot. the The ones I used to see were your Aunt Jemima looking types, you know, so your Betty Crocker types, you know. We didn't have any hot lunch matrons. You know, our lunch matrons was whew. I'd shudder to even think about the bloomers they was wearing. So I guarantee you the matrons that was in my school wasn't wearing no thongs, okay? So, but I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying though, if this cop or former cop was doing all this kind of shit, you know, at least, if it was at a middle school, I hope it was not with a middle schooler, you know. I think that's probably where this is going. I could still hope, you know, for the best. He gonna all the sex he don't want when he goes to prison. He gonna get all the sex he don't want. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, yeah. That's one of those where. Oh, no, it was another cop. Oh, he was having sex with another cop. Well, if he's having sex with another cop, all right. He just picked a bad place to do it. That you know, and I've been guilty myself of picking some bad places to do it. So, you know, I don't think they should be, you know, if it was two cops, I don't think they should be punished to the hilt for that. You know, they just had some bad discretion. That's all. It was just lousy ass discretion. So, you know, it is what it is sometimes. I've been guilty of that myself. So, you know, matter of fact, ooh, boy, do I got a story about that. I tell you what. No, I won't tell you. Anyway. But before it leaves my mind, I did want to play this clip, and it will put you in mind of another angle to look at. That's what her husband said. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Wow. That's well, at least we can agree on something. That's messed up. So anyway, dang, married, huh? Mm. You know, that's one of those things where you gotta scratch your head, you know, when you decide to get married, you know, you gotta, why you get married if you're gonna be getting into shenanigans? But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. That's a horse of a different feather. Anyway, so before I get too far off kilter, let me go on and get this clip out. That is a different way of looking at what happened in 2020. Listen to this.
Get through the gate of the total fuck you to his supporters, because what he's going to say is that when President Barack Obama was president, the election was free and fair, and I won. When President Joe Biden was president, the election was free and fair, and I won. When I was in charge, I fucked it up so badly that I lost. It's like an epic mind fuck to his own base. He's going to make his base swallow this absolute shit sandwich of like, I'm the only one that can fuck it up. I mean, what is he going to hire John Brennan tonight?
Yeah. Bring in some people that know how to do the business.
The most cynical thing I think I've seen him do. He's going to ask his base to accept. He's going to ask Brian Kilmeade to go on TV tomorrow morning and anchor a newscast where Brian Kilmeade is going to have to tell the morning, MAGA viewers that Obama and Biden ran free and fair elections with election integrity, and Trump didn't. And you know who was running national intelligence? Rick Grinnell until May of 2020, and then John Ratcliffe. Is he going to fire him tonight? I mean, his dudes were in charge of election integrity, and he's going to make his base swallow this most brazen pile of absolute bullshit lies that of the last 3 presidential elections, he's the only one that couldn't protect us from China or Iran or whoever he's going to say hacked him.
I think that's a very important frame. I'm glad you said that, because one thing that you can do, I feel like sometimes you end up talking past MAGAs, we all do, when like they're talking in their delusions and you're trying to fact check them and it's like they're unfact checkable. But what you're doing is you're taking it at face value. You're saying, okay, fine. All right, sir, you're right. Great. The election was stolen. Really? Who did? Why? Why hasn't Trump figured it out by now? He was the only one that couldn't secure the elections. He was the only one that couldn't ensure that he had a free opportunity at the ballot place. Who was in charge of that? Who did he fire? Does the buck not stop with him?
Well, that's the interesting point right there that I wanted to get out there before I got sidetracked. That's the interesting point. Obama ran an election. There was an election at the end of Obama's term. The election went fine. Trump became president. Trump ran the election. He lost. And all hell broke loose. The election was fraud. Everything was fucked up. Wasn't nothing right. I got a bitch about it for 8 years. He's out. Biden runs the country. Has an election under Biden. Everything runs smooth. Trump is elected. Fine election. No problem. So the only time it was fucked up was when he was president. Anybody notice when you hear MAGA talking about it, remind any MAGA person, Trump was the president then. How did the elections get fucked up? Also, the states that they're bitching about that had, there was fraud in this state and that state, were Republican states. Arizona, Georgia, Republican states. That they're saying there was fraud in. So in the Republican states there was fraud, and under Trump's leadership it was fraud. So, where's the fraud coming from? Must be the Republicans. Must be MAGA committing all the fraud, huh? Just had to get that out there. That's all. I had to get that out there because that's been on my mind all day. That has been at the top of my mind all day long. And I haven't heard anybody until they said it, Until they said it. That's the first time I heard somebody say, hey, the election ran fine under Obama when you got elected. Ran fine under Biden when you got elected. Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, absolutely. They was talking about the fraud was in Georgia and they was carrying ballots and stuff, and the fraud was in Arizona. And the man called Rusty out in Arizona, and Rusty told him, fuck off. I'm not getting ready to do any of this stuff. Rusty said, hey, our election was great. That was I think his name was Rusty. He said he was the clerk that was dealing with the election, and he said, the hell with that. So I'm just sorry, brother. I'll tell you what, why don't I not start all over? Maybe you just catch the beginning later on. But yeah, I think old boy out in Arizona told him, man, you kissed my ass. Our election ran smooth. We counted the ballots. Remember out there in Arizona, they had what was that called? They had them data dudes come in. They had that crew come in and wanted to count everything, and yeah, we couldn't find no fraud. I forget the name of it. It was some diabolical name they sent in. So that's just the way it go, you know. But I think all of this nonsense is about trying to make it ugly going into November this year, especially with this ridiculous back and forth they got going on in Iran. You know, apparently the news came out today. First time I heard it today. There were actually the last when those last soldiers got injured, and I reported here that they closed a hospital wing in Germany so the soldiers could go there for treatment. It was 300 and some odd soldiers injured. That many at one time. Well, they're up to 400 and some odd soldiers injured now. And three of them, two got killed with the recent hit that the hit that Iran launched, and another soldier got killed in Iraq. Apparently, the report is they had a controlled demolition of an Iranian drone, a controlled demolition, and it killed a U.S. soldier. Well, who was controlling the demolition? I wonder if it was a controlled demolition. I think all of the not demolition, detonation, not demolition, but detonation, a controlled detonation. I think all of the detonations up to this point have been controlled by somebody. You know, every detonation that I've been listening to over the airwaves were controlled by somebody. So, all of those missiles that Iran have been launching have been controlled detonations. All of the U.S. Missiles and rockets. And understand something. This is how piss poor this is. Keep this in mind the entire time. Every time Iran launches a drone, that's $15,000 to $40,000. One drone, $15,000 to $40,000. Every time America or Bahrain or any of the Arab nations in that region that has to defend itself against one of those drones, the missile they're launching starts at $2.5 million. Okay? All of the missile Tomahawks, they start at $2.5 million. And all of the other rockets after that go up in price. So all of this stuff we've been dropping, remember they tell you, oh, we targeted 85 targets today. Well, if it was only 85 rockets, it was at least 85 times $2.5 million. So the price tag is staggering at this point. The price tag is staggering at this point. That's why they're on Capitol Hill every day talking about the Defense Department needs some more money. We need another $1 trillion. We need another $750 billion. Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do. They pissing away our money hand over fist and getting nowhere. Iran is giving them the bird. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I think the support for this guy is pretty much dwindling. I think MAGA's just about done. I think MAGA's just about done. I was on social media today and I saw a lot of MAGA folks really giving them the business. I was surprised. I was like, I think MAGA's starting to see the light. That this guy ain't nothing but a charlatan. And he's pissing away our money like hand over fist while he stuffs his pockets. His sons and daughters stuff their pockets. And son-in-law stuffing his pockets. I mean, they stuffing their pockets like 40 going north. So I think they may be finally waking up. You know, and when I say MAGA, I'm saying the ones that actually do communicate. There are some MAGA loyalists that actually do think a little bit. They think a little bit. There's still those that there's always going to be that group that when you talk to them or you see somebody interviewing one of them, they're like, yeah, and he's the most wonderful president I've ever seen. You know, the eyes bucked out and he's the greatest man ever born. You know, that guy. Don't even worry about them. You know, them people, they're always going to be there. You know, those are the piss on their head and tell them it's raining group. Okay? They're always going to be there. So, Beaver's going to get even crazier before November. Somebody's going to get impeached. Oh, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, if they take the House and Senate, now it's almost guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed they're going to lose the House of Representatives. That's almost guaranteed. The Senate, they need to take the Senate. If they take the Senate, they'll get 60 votes. You got to have 2/3 of the Senate to throw him out of office. The House of Representatives files the case. This is how impeachment works. A little civics right now. The House of Representatives charges him with crimes, high crimes and misdemeanors. And that is the crime, that is the charges. It is sent to the Senate for a trial. So we need the House and the Senate. And it takes 2/3 of the Senate to throw him out of office. So I certainly hope we could do it. I hope they can do it. I hope they can do it. One other thing I hope happens. I hope that there is a continuation of this movement to put new, fresh Democrats in. The old Democrat guard is fighting tooth and nail. Okay? They're fighting tooth and nail against this new, fresh breed of Democrats. Now, one thing I will say about these new Democrats who call themselves Democratic Socialists, I wish they would pick some of their words a little better. Because sometimes some of the things they say will scare a lot of people into not voting for them. You know, when you're coming up with new and fresh ideas or are willing to take a stand on something such as not taking money from AIPAC, That is something people can get behind. But you got to be careful when you throw the really far-reaching stuff out there. And I'm not going to say any examples because there's a lot of examples. Well, one example. I'll give one example. One example is I heard one of them say government needs to take over certain businesses. Well, that's going to scare a lot of people. Okay. That will scare a lot of people into not voting for you. And it will give the other side something. That's where they start calling you a communist. Okay. That's how they start calling you a communist. You got to say, you can think it and feel it. Don't let it come out of your mouth, Get elected and start to change from within, like the Republicans did. The Republicans, they got elected and then started all of this Project 2025 shit on the inside. That's what you got to do. All of them ran away from Project 2025 before they got elected. During the election, nobody knew anything about Project 2025. Once they got elected, this shit been flowing like water. This Project 2025 shit, they've been going through chapters like clockwork. They 3/4 of the way through that mug. We just got to put the brakes on them. Got to put the brakes on them. And hopefully in November, we'll be able to do that. Government shouldn't control independent businesses. Well, that's my point, Now, there's certain things. See, when you get into that conversation, there are certain things that have nuances. Okay, and one of the things that would be considered a nuance is the Postal Service. The Postal Service is a business. It is independent, but it is government run. Okay, there are certain things, okay, that have nuances. So that's a discussion to be had. The thing is, don't throw nothing out there. Don't lob out there that big grenade. The government should take over certain businesses. Don't lob that out there because you will scare people. And that's my advice to all of the Democratic socialists that are running for office right now. One other thing before I go, because I intended to not be talking this much tonight. I intended for this to be a short one, but I get to talking and shit every time. One other thing. Listen for this. I told y'all to listen for that side to be calling them communists all the time. You're going to hear communists. They letting the communists in. Those are the Democratic socialists that are winning their elections and winning their primaries. They're going to be calling them communists. Here's one other thing. Be listening for. Be listening very careful for this right here. And this is even the Democratic, old school Democrats that are fighting tooth and nail to keep the new Democrats out. They don't want the new Democrats coming in because the new Democrats are coming in talking about not taking money. Now, understand, the new Democrats are talking about not taking money. Not taking money from AIPAC, not taking money from a lot of other organizations, but AIPAC is the biggest one because AIPAC is funneling the most money into our elections. In Michigan right now, AIPAC has put at least $30 million into the Senate race in Michigan. Why is a Jewish organization funneling money into a political race in America? Because they want their candidate to win. All right. Listen to these buzzwords. I'm going to play some clips Wednesday, but listen to these buzzwords. Does Israel have the right to exist? Nobody in the fucking world is saying Israel don't have a right to exist. But that's the question that they done came. That's the buzzword question. Remember that boogeyman I tell you they come up with? That's the latest boogeyman. Be listening for it. Does Israel have a right to exist? Who the fuck says Israel don't have a right to exist? Israel don't have a right to our tax dollars. That's what I say. They can exist wherever the fuck they want to exist. They don't have a right to my tax dollars. And they don't have a right to funnel those tax dollars back into the politicians to do their damn bidding. Okay? But listen for that. That's the question that they trying to ask. They trying to blindside the new Democrats with. All of the old Democrats and CNN and Fox, all of them. You know, that's the question of the day. Be listening. Does Israel have a right to exist? You trying to say Israel doesn't deserve to exist? Nobody's saying that. They don't have a right to my money. They don't have a right to my wallet. Okay? That's the answer to that question. You don't have a right to my wallet. Okay? So, be on the lookout. You'll be hearing it. You know, if you listen to any of these talking heads, you'll be hearing it. They can exist all they want to exist. Who gives a damn about them existing? Everybody's got a right to exist. And see, they quick to call Israel the only democratic country in the Middle East. Well, Israel operates as a democratic country, not Democrat, big D, Democrat, little d. You know, they have what a lot of people would call a democracy. But they tweaked it. They tweaked it in a way that the democracy only covers the Jews. The democracy doesn't cover everybody else in the country. There's different rules for everybody else that ain't Jewish in Israel. So listen for that too. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. Yeah, it's a democracy for the Jews. Everybody else in the country got different rules. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Be listening for this stuff. And then check it out. When you hear it, go in, do a little research. You don't have to do a lot. Just, do a couple of Google searches. And Google come up with some good stuff for you. Hey, on that note, I did it again. Anyway, Wednesday, I'm gonna come up with some of these, does Israel have a right to exist? Shit that's going around out there. Because it's really pissing me off to listen to it. Because there's nobody, they come up with these boogeymen that nobody said anything about. Nobody said Israel don't deserve to exist. But it's a way to catch up. It's a way to gotcha a democratic socialist who is campaigning on not taking money from Israel. And that's the latest gotcha. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with me as usual. Wednesday, come on back Wednesday so we can talk about this. Does Israel have the right to exist shit? And anything else you might want to talk about. Hopefully by then, they will have found where this food poisoning is coming from. Did I mention before this administration, we had an FDA and a health agency that would have pinpointed this shit pretty quick. I think, sorry, I talked too much. Have a good night, Stacey. What you mean you talk too much? You didn't talk too much. You talked just enough. You talked just the right amount. You need to talk more next time. Okay? You need to talk more next time. And on that note, Every last one of you need to talk more next time. That way I won't be sitting up here on a damn soapbox preaching and shit. Sorry about that. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. By the way, hit that thumbs up, ring that bell thingy, get this algorithm out there. And I guess I will see you all Wednesday. Thanks. Take it easy.